Right, what loopy land have I ended up in now? What the fuck are you? Welcome to Dead Cells, a complex game where every enemy hits far too hard for what they are. If there was ever a game which demonstrated just how weak a possessed body was, this is definitely it. Unironically, the number of healing potion flasks you have is not representative of how much healing you have, but instead representative of how many hits you can take. Because an exploding bug dealing 1/3 of my max HP is a fair and balanced game choice. Thank you, Motion Twin Studios. When you first begin the game, you'll meet the tutorial knight, who provides a very brief exposition on why you're you, and directs you vaguely in the correct direction. From then on, you're on your own. You'll probably spend a few moments trying to figure out how movement works in this game. At least I did. The shield guy kinda ate my ass for a bit. Dead Cells is a roguelike. Like Risk of Rain, every run is unique, and if you die, you reset. To begin your run, you're given a selection of 3 items: a melee weapon, a ranged weapon, and a shield. There's little to no direction in this game, and realistically, you're just expected to explore the level and kill some monsters. The monsters in this game are honestly really cool. Sure, some are absolute bullshit, this guy included, but many have interesting mechanics. Some toss, explode, teleport, blink, dash, and many more. The variety of enemies really makes every run interesting. Some enemies are harder than others, and if you really want a quick gauge on difficulty, bigger equals stronger. In each stage, you'll also find a whole host of other things scattered around that can help you out. Power-up scrolls, which let you pick a stat to level up. I will go over these later. Treasure chests, which can contain scrolls and weapons. Shops, which sell equipment or weapons. Cursed treasure, which makes you 1 HP until you kill enough enemies. These choose your preferred item shop things. Sometimes you'll just find items on the ground, and these shrines, which spawn an elite enemy. Elite enemies have modifiers on them, but they are just regular enemies with more health and some weird aspects, such as this weird damage rate. So if you know how to deal with the enemy normally, it's not too hard. They will drop some cells and an item when you kill them though. Oh, and a key. Don't ask me what that does. After exploring for a bit, you'll probably find the path to the next stage, so let's explain stages now, I guess. Dead Cells works like many roguelikes. It follows a typical loop of loot one stage, move on, and repeat. Dead Cells is completely different though. Instead of each stage being random, the stage you go to determines the stages you have access to next. To get to certain stages, you'll need to take a certain path. Don't panic, there are multiple ways to get to one stage, but it's probably best to Google a map, because it's quite complex. Some stages are pretty difficult. You won't be able to get to all the stages immediately because you need all the runes. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is the new product you need. Runes. Found some walls you can't get on? What about this weird leafy pile thing that you can't seem to get rid of? What about these weird statues that seem to do nothing? Well, you, my friend, my lovely prisoner pal, seem to need a few runes. Runes are one of Dead Cells' permanent upgrades, and you find them all over the place. Need to touch this leafy thing? There's a rune for that. Stuck under a few walls that totally look jumpable? There's a rune for that. Enjoying my content and would love to see more? Yeah, there isn't a rune for that, but there is a subscribe button. Looking at this weird statue wondering what it does? There's a rune for that. Come to Frozen's Rune Shop for all your rune needs. Uh-oh. Anyway, now that you've left the first stage, you'll enter this in-between level. Here you'll pass by at most 2 doors. One opens if you get there before the time marked, and the other door, well, this door sucks. It's rage-inducing. To open this door, you must get a kill streak of the amount of enemies marked by the door without taking damage. So, you have to kill 30 enemies without taking damage, and then you will be able to unlock this door. If you lose your kill streak before hitting 30, tough luck. This door makes me want to kill myself. I've lost this door so many times because of some bullshit enemy. Inside these doors, you can choose an item out of the 3 and you'll get 20 cells. You'd be tempted to race through the levels to get to the time door because it's easier, but I wouldn't recommend that. Take the time to explore. You'll probably get better at fighting enemies, and you'll find power scrolls and loot to go with. Oh yeah, it's probably a good time to explain stats now. Every weapon, shield, equipment, and thing in this game is one of 3 colors: red, green, or purple. You also only have 3 upgradable stats: red, green, or purple. So when you get a power scroll, you can choose to level up one of these stats. So which one to level up? You'd think to level them up all equally, because as you level one up, it starts to give less HP. No, you ignorant fool! Pick one stat to specialize in. Red is like a dexterity build with lots of fast daggers, short range attacks, and dodging a lot. Purple is a ranged glass cannon build, keep your distance, shoot mega damage, have no health, and green is about a tank build. Not tank as in health, because everything still does a million damage, but shields and heavy hitting weapons, and you usually have some form of freeze or root to ensure your heavy weapons can actually hit the enemy. On the topic of weapons, there are a lot of weapons in this game, so try everything out. You'll find some that you like, some that you hate, and some that are okay. Now that you've chosen your stat to level up, you will level that stat up whenever you get the chance. If there is a scroll without it, just pick whatever gives the most health. This is because level up damage is multiplicative, so by doing it this way, you'll do tons of damage and have a decent amount of health to back yourself up with. Leveling one stat not only increases the damage that the weapons of that color do, but also levels up the mutations that you have equipped. So let's talk about those. In the land between levels, you'll pass by these doors and run into the Collector, who we will talk about later. And further along, there will be a guy who gives mutations. Mutations are run-specific perks that you can choose from. It's best to choose mutations that are the same color as your main stat, so they get upgraded too. Mutations are very helpful, like this green mutation, which allows you to heal after every successful parry. You won't have this many when you start with, so that brings us nicely back to this guy, the Collector. The Collector is a man who you can trade your cells in for permanent unlocks and upgrades. When running around, you will have noticed that some enemies will drop blueprints. Once you bring these to the Collector in the land between stages, they will be saved. Otherwise, if you die beforehand, you're gonna lose them. Once you bring a blueprint to the Collector, you can trade cells to unlock that weapon, mutation, equipment, or cosmetic item. There are also a few permanent upgrades too, such as increasing the amount of charges your health flasks have, which is pretty good. Once you unlock that item, it has a chance to appear in all your future runs. Mutations unlocked will always be available. When it comes to weapons, you'll find a lot of blueprints, and you'll always have something to work towards. The amount of weapons and equipment in this game is genuinely mind-blowing. Some weapons have special gimmicks like inflicting bleed, shooting multiple arrows, freezing people if you parry them properly, the whole lot. Equipment also adds a whole new aspect to the game. These are consumable items that you can use and they recharge. When you pick up an equipment or weapon, you'll notice a list of stats displayed. At the end of every weapon name, you'll notice a number. If you can't read Roman numerals, now is the time to learn. The number at the end represents the level of equipment. Higher levels mean more refinements, more damage, and are generally just better. As you play, you'll also find weapons with pluses and letters attached too. These symbols refer to item quality. They go from plus, plus plus, S, and L, with each quality upgrade adding an equivalent +2 levels to that item. So a sword 4 does less damage than a sword 3+. You can find these higher quality items normally, or you can upgrade the quality with the blacksmith, who you can pay to upgrade the quality of your items. The rest is what the item does and some refinements, which are basically modifiers. This video is too short to go over modifiers. I don't understand what's good, so we will leave that for better players. At the end of this land between stages, you can find a health potion refill and then it's on to the next stage. You're going to repeat the cycle a few times until you eventually all converge on a few boss stages. The Black Bridge will be the first boss stage you find, where the concierge boss fight takes place. This guy is pretty simple, but he can be challenging the first few times you fight him. Just dodge his attacks and he'll go down pretty quickly. The next boss fight will be the Timekeeper, who is harder, but if you're good at spamming the dodge key, he should be fine too. And finally, the last boss, the King's Hand. This guy's pretty tough. He hits hard and he hits fast, and he hits you around, spawns elite enemies to help him, and can kill you pretty quickly. You might think that a lot of people die here and at these bosses, but really, I've personally died way more just in the regular stages. Sure, the bosses are hard, but it's only one guy and the stages have a bunch of different enemies with different attack patterns and they also do a lot of damage. So you're probably gonna die more to a kamikaze bug than the concierge. Yeah, dying. Get used to it. It's called dead cells for a reason. You will die a lot, but every time you die, hopefully you will learn, and hopefully you won't die in the same way in the future. Unless you're fighting this guy. When you die, start over, try a different build, go a different route, try out your new runes you may have got, and maybe, just maybe, you'll get back to this guy's fucking room and partake in a rematch. Now, you may have noticed this little icon at the bottom of my run, and you also would have noticed that the king is not here. Yes, I have already killed him, and forgot to record it. When you kill the final boss, you will gain access to a boss cell. The game begins on 0 BC, or 0 boss cells, and you can up the difficulty by adding one more to this tube thing here. Each BC adds new modifiers and makes the game much harder. And to get the next boss cell, you need to kill the boss on the previous BC. There's a total of 5 boss cells, so have some fun. There's a lot of replayability in this game. Finally, explore. There's so much I can't cover because A, I haven't found them, and B, there's just too much. There are a ton of NPCs around in the main lobby that you can interact with, a bunch of hidden secrets, lore, items, and hidden stages. There's hidden endings that I have not yet done, and tons of secrets to explore. To fully finish this game will take you a long time, and frankly, I don't know if I ever will. Overall though, Dead Cells is an amazing game. Its boss cell feature means that every game is always hard. It has tons of lore and stories, puzzles, random side quests, and exploration to it too. There are a ton of stages and I don't want to spoil them for you. I do not regret buying this game. And there are a ton of other bosses too. Just give it a try. I promise you'll not regret it. Anyway, see ya.